Hello and welcome to Countrywide on Benue Television. I am Susan Ayo. The headlines. President Tinubu Labour talks adjourned till next week. Senator Akume says Labour can enforce minimum wage compliance. Plus, a reps wade into Police Services Commission Inspector General of Police get rock over police recruitment. Nana News in details. Benue State government is to establish a Bureau of Homeland Security as part of efforts to fight insecurity in the state. Chief Security Officer of the state, Governor Hyacinth Alia, made this known Thursday at Government House, Makurdi, while briefing the media after a state security meeting. According to the governor, represented by his deputy, Dr. Sam Ode, the bureau that is headed by the Director General appointed by his office will coordinate the affairs and information sharing between government and security agencies within the state to enable immediate and quick response to security issues. Correspondent Emmanuel Akula completes the story.
The Benue State government says it is not resting until security of life property is guaranteed in the state. In some of the resolutions reached at the state security meeting that lasted for over 5 hours, the council resolves that in furtherance of the state government's efforts to find lasting peace in the state, all security agencies in the state should work in synergy to effectively combat crimes and all forms of criminality within the state. The council equally resolves to invite National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC) as a member of the Security Council, as the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) and the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC) representatives were also invited to be part of the Security Council.
That the multiplicity of illegal checkpoints should be stopped within the states, except for those at strategic areas, and that all the security operatives should be at each point instead of operating separately.
On the attacks recently experienced in Okum local government area, the Security Council resolves to continue with the curfew in the entire Sankara Federal constituency of the state, with a further resolve to place a ban on protest in the entire axis until further notice.
Council, after thorough deliberation on the extent of the destruction of government and private properties in Okum local government area of the state, and the urgent need to restore peace, Council resolved to set up a judicial commission of inquiry to look into the situation.
It reminds residents of the state to note that the Benue State law against marching ground within the state is still effective and operational, saying that the law will soon be gazetted and made available to members of the public. Council equally agrees that the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism should organize sensitization programs to inform people of the state about the dangers of using illicit drugs and the need to stop human trafficking.
That officially, the Benue State Security Council, which holds, will now from time to time hold on a monthly basis and at such short periods as Council may deem necessary.
On the issue of human trafficking, Zona Commander, National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, Makurdi Zona Office, Mrs. Gloria Bai, says the Benue girls that were trafficked to Ivory Coast have been brought back to the state and are currently in rehabilitation. According to her, the lady who took them there, in the guise of getting a job for them, has been arrested and will soon be charged to court. Mrs. Bai, who commends the efforts of the Benue State government for ensuring return of the girls, advises parents, guardians, and job seekers to always be on the watch out in order to safeguard against issues of trafficking. She adds that the agency is going tough on human traffickers with the aim of putting an end to the ugly practice. And on the issue of allocation of plots to federal government agencies in the state to erect structures, Council resolves to carry out extensive consultations on the matter in order to give equal treatment to the agencies as regards processing fees for certificate of occupancy and auxiliary charges. Emmanuel Akula, Benue Television News, Makurdi.
Thank you, Emmanuel, for that report. About 100 farmers in Benue State have benefited from the Benue State government-sponsored subsidized agri-inputs to boost agriculture this year. The farmers from many Makurdi local governments area are parts of the continuing scheme to be carried out across the state. Bureau of Agricultural Development and Mechanization, PENADA, made this known during the flag-off of distribution of inputs and assets to farmers in Makurdi. Correspondent Franca Lanshima has more.
Benue State government has made affordable the provision of farm inputs for farmers in the state in order to yield richer harvests. And that the State's Bureau of Agricultural Development and Mechanization, BNADA, in partnership with Nigerian COVID-19 Action Recovery and Economic Stimulus NG Cares and Benue Fadama, farm inputs were Wednesday distributed to the farmers. Commissioner for Finance and the Chairman Benue Care Steering Committee, Michael Oglegba, explained that Governor Hyacinth Alia is aware of the importance of partnering with the necessary bodies to ensure that agricultural production takes center stage once again to sustain the status of the food basket of the nation. Mr. Oglegba attributes the successes of the program to Governor Alia's interest in helping to enhance agricultural produce and creating more yields. He charges the beneficiaries of the farm inputs to properly utilize the opportunity in order to attract such projects to the state.
What is going on here is completely a Benue project, supported, that's what we're calling Alia case, right? Like I said, Father Alia invested. Now we are all reaping, right? Yes. So it's an investment of Benue State, supported by all the structures, including the World Bank, Federal Ministry of Finance, the National Coordinating Unit, everybody is supporting us. However, it is your project. What this project seeks to do is, one, to improve lives. Benue State, everybody is involved in farming. Even those of us that are in politics are now involved in farming, right? So you can safely say 98%, 97% of us are involved in farming. Anything you do in Benue that does not include farming, you're wasting your time.
Director General of the Bureau, Engineer Tei Iseninga, calls on beneficiaries to ensure proper usage of the agricultural inputs to improve on their farms.
When subsidies are provided, farmers are able to acquire these inputs at a minimum rate. It's still expensive, but we thank the governor that for other inputs like seeds, agrochemicals, and knapsack sprayers, it's even 75%, while fertilizer is 50%. This, we are sure that with the cooperation of God, which is in terms of weather-wise, our farmers will get optimum yields this year.
The State Coordinator, State Care Steering Committee, Mrs. Jacinta Wombo, urges the beneficiaries to live up to expectations, given that the present administration has more to offer to farmers who are especially under the umbrella of cooperative bodies.
These inputs are given to you as an individual. These inputs are not given to you to go and pick some and return some to anybody that has put your name. Are we clear on this? This is to improve lives, and so it is for you that your name is being mentioned or your name is on the paper.
Responding on behalf of the beneficiaries, Mrs. Judith Iyo pledges to utilize the materials distributed accordingly.
God can do uncomparable, reliable, acceptable. Governor, His Excellency Dr. Hyacinth Alia, now is adding a step to we farmers who we were nothing before others, but now we are something. So in that alone, for helping us to have all these inputs, I pray that whatever our hand lays on, if you plant one, by next year it will double in Jesus' name. And
some of the beneficiaries, Teiso Waji, Mrs. Mwese Maka, and the Makurdi local government youth leader on special groups and mobilization, Joseph Akben, separately welcomed the development.
This farm inputs, we believe that tomorrow it will even be better than this, and we appreciate God for that.
On behalf of Benue State Youth, we are glad and happy for this good platform. We want to assure the governor that these inputs are not going to be sold in the market. We are not going to sell them. We are going to make impact on these inputs?
Do encourage those farmers out there that this is a reality. It's not a fake film that we normally see on television, but this thing is now in our disposal. So I encourage them that they should form cooperative so that they can also benefit what I'm benefiting now.
About 120 beneficiaries received farm inputs, including NPK 2010-10, 10 kg bags of rice, peas and herbicides. Franca Lanshua, Television.
All right, thank you.
Managing Director of Benue Investment and Property Company Limited BIPC, Dr. Raymond Asamakaha, says BIPC is working towards lasting solution to integrate 45% of the IDPs into the company's ecosystem and professional skills acquisition program. Dr. Asamakaha announced this Wednesday at the company's headquarters in Makurdi during an interface with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. Nashun Dam has details of this report.
According to the Internally Displaced Persons Monitoring Council, an estimated 3.3 million Nigerians with Benue State inclusive faces a significant challenge of internally displaced persons (IDPs). In order to add value to themselves and the state, the Benue Investment and Property Company BIPC has designed a solution model tagged IDPs through capacity building initiative to promote self-reliance and sustainability. Management of BIPC Wednesday engaged a delegation from United Nations High Commission for Refugees UNHCR seeking to partner the organization towards improving on lives of the IDPs in Benue State. Managing Director BIPC Dr. Raymond Asamakaha says the partnership intends to expand the company's businesses in the state to include IDPs who will be taught the act of the business to become self-reliant.
We feel it is important for us to, integrate them in the business model. We found out that the IDP is about 1.5 million people in Benue State, the refugees about 12,000, and the returnees about 6,000. So we also know that the UNHCR, they have been making a lot of efforts, and we feel, what are we going to do different? We just feel it is important for us to integrate them by bringing them to our net in terms of the business model that we have, put in place. We found out that a lot of them, the world have changed, that people require skills. And we feel it is important that the only thing to help those people is not just about money. It's not about just giving them money. We want a lasting solutions. We want to bring them to the ecosystem that when we are doing our job, just like what we did recently, we will give the UN 15% of what we do. Now, how do we do that? We just launch our bread, we just launch our fertilizer company, we just launch our water. We're bringing them on board. Come and learn the job and become a servant.
Country's representative UNHCR Ajon Jain lauded the initiative of BIPC to integrate IDPs in the state into the society, saying this is necessary to address the hunger and security challenges the IDPs continue to face.
We go around, we hear three things. We hear the first one is we want safety and we'd like to go back home. The second is that we want livelihoods. We want to earn our own money. We want to have our dignity. We want to take care of our families. We want to take care of ourselves. We don't want handouts. And the third thing we hear is that we would like a bit more support on education, healthcare, a few other issues, because they feel that they have been neglected. After 6 years, they should not be living in a home that is the size of their mattress. They can't even stand up straight in the room. We're here to look for a paradigm shift, to see that we don't continue with handouts, but we look at a solution where they feel like they are equal citizens in their own country.
UNHCR's office, Ogoja Ms. Irene Obundi, expresses appreciation to Dr. Asamakaha for the interest shown towards the IDPs.
It's very important that solutions around and with the government, company organizations that are very much willing and open to see how IDPs, refugees, like any other person, can contribute to the building of the economy, but also to building to their own self by people who can be able to participate, be able to earn a living.
A memorandum of understanding is expected to be signed within a month between BIC and UNHCR. Naishun Dam, Benue Television News, Makurdi.
Thursday's talk between President Bola Tinubu and the organized labor on minimum wage were adjourned until next week to allow for wider consultation with all stakeholders. The leadership of the organized labor, led by the President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, and the Trade Union Congress, Festus Osifo, had arrived at the State House about 2 p.m. and were ushered into the Tinubu's office. The Tripartite Committee on the new national minimum wage had recently submitted 2 figures to the President as the organized private sector and the government team offered to pay 62,000 naira, while the organized labor demanded 250,000 naira. Following the disagreements over the figure, the President had delayed sending any figure to the National Assembly through the executive bill to consult with all the relevant stakeholders in order to resolve all the continued issues. Ajaero, who addressed State House correspondent after the meeting, said there were no negotiations at the 1-hour meeting. Rather, it was a discussion on the current economic realities in the country. Also speaking was the president of TUC, Osifo, who said the organized labor puts all the economic indices on the table and how it was biting on Nigerians. On his part, the Minister of Information National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said he remained hopeful of the positive results after next week's talk. You're watching Countrywide on Benue Television. Let's take a quick break. Don't go away. Glad to have you back. The federal government and crude oil producers in Nigeria have committed to working towards a sustainable supply of crude oil to local refineries under the market-determined pricing system. Both parties said that the aim of the commitment was to ensure that while the crude oil producers do business optimally, the refineries are not starved of feedstock. Accordingly, the industry regulator, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, has directed all refineries in the country to provide monthly price quotes on crude supply. He came as the $20 billion Dangote Petroleum Refinery is reportedly ramping up the importation of crude from the United States. In a statement issued in Abuja on Thursday, Nigerian's Upstream Regulatory stated that all producers under the umbrella of the Oil Producers Trade Section of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, at a meeting called by the NUPRC, agreed to concede to a framework that could be mutually beneficial with the aim of ensuring that local refineries are not strangulated due to off-the-cuff prices. In a statement, Omolafe said President Bola Tinubu is fully committed to providing a level playing ground for producers and refiners to do business in the industry. He expressed the need for a rule of engagement to ensure that the pricing models from the oil producers does not hinder the domestic refineries. Following the Supreme Court's judgment granting financial autonomy to the 774 local government areas in the country, Governor Charles Soludo of Anambra State and his Cross River State counterpart, Senator Basi Otu, Thursday said they accepted the verdict in good faith. However, efforts to get the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum (NGF) and governor of Kwara State Abdurrahman Abdurrazak proved abortive as he evaded questions from the State House correspondent after meeting with the President Tinubu. The Apex Court, in a landmark judgment, ruled that it is unconstitutional for governors to hold onto funds meant for local government. The Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision by the 7-member panel of justices, barred governors of the 36 states of the Federation from receiving, withholding, tampering, or utilizing funds that stand to credits or the local government areas, while President Bola Tinubu, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, the National Union of Local Government Employees, the Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project, Labour Party, and Coalition of United Political Parties held the Supreme Court judgment. Former Governor of the Delta State, Chief James Ibori, said that the verdict has dealt a severe setback to the principle of federalism in the country. The Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Olayemi Cardoso, Thursday said that the future of the country's economy is bright, citing the positive impacts of recent reforms in the foreign exchange markets and interest rates hiking, including improved investors' confidence, stability of the naira, and reduction of excess liquidity in the economy. Speaking in Lagos Thursday during a fireside, said that the Business Day CEOs Forum, Cardoso said that the recent interest rate hikes of the CBN were necessary to stabilize the naira and address the rise in money supply worsened by the 23 trillion naira ways and means and the 10 million naira intervention funds. He, however, assured that interest rates will soon come down once the rising trend in inflation moderates. Cardoso also assured that the naira will experience more stability given elimination of distortions and stakeholders' confidence in the new forex market regime, stressing that the banking recapitalization exercise is aimed to build a better, stronger, more reliant banking system. Cardoso said that the exclusion of the retained earnings from the computation of minimum capital requirements of banks was to ensure a fair standard of comparability. We'll take more news after this break. Please stay with us. Glad to have you back on Countrywide. The House of Representatives has waded into the face-off between the Police Service Commission and the Inspector General of Police over recruitment into the force. This followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance by Metema Obodo during plenary in Abuja. The motion was titled, Resolving the Impasses, an urgent need to investigate and settle lingering police recruitment dispute halting the 2023/2024 police recruitment. Obodo presented a motion stating that the Nigerian police is under supervision of the PSC, which has the power to appoint, promote, and dismiss all officers of the Nigerian police force except the IGP. This, he said, was intended to broker a relationship of trust and confidence between the public and the police. He said that given the population of Nigeria and security situation in the country, the ideal police-to-citizen ratio in Nigeria ought to be 1 police officer to 200 citizens. He, however, said that the country currently has a ratio of 1 police officer to 650 citizens, indicating a significant shortfall in the Nigerian police strength. This, he said, was far below the United Nations recommendation of 1 police officer to 450 citizens. He said the lingering dispute between the PSC and the IGP resulted in an impasse and has regrettably halted the ongoing recruitment process for almost 10 months. Adopting the motion, the House urged its committee on police to investigate the root cause of the lingering dispute between the PSC and the IGP and report it with recommendations within 4 weeks. The federal government says organized labor has the duty to enforce compliance with the minimum wage payments by state governments following the inability of some states to pay. Senator George Akume, Secretary to the State Government of the Federation, communicated this Thursday in Abuja at the end of the 2-day pre-retirement summit organized by Zim Consulting Limited. Akume, who was represented by Nnamdi Bageri, Permanent Secretary General Services Office, urged organized labor not to leave the enforcement of the law to the government. According to Akume, the federal government has initiated a lot of reforms, programs that will lift people out of poverty in the near future, but Nigerians should be patient while they must rise. Earlier in his remark, Joe Ajaero, President Nigerian Labour Congress, regretted that the current pension scheme fell short of taking care of Nigerians' aging population. Folashade Yemi Esan, head of the Civil Service of the Federation, said that her office was working on remodeling the existing health insurance programs to accommodate retirees. Yemi Esan, who was represented by Dr. Comfort Adeosun, a director in the office of the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, said retirees could not be abandoned in their old age. The senator representing Abia North Senatorial District of the National Assembly, Orji Kalu, has commended the Supreme Court's judgment on the autonomy of local governments, while appealing to the federal government to consider using Independent National Electoral Commission to conduct local government elections in the country. This came, as he said, on the federal government to allow the Independent National Electoral Commission instead of the State Independent Electoral Commission to conduct local government elections. In a landmark judgment on Thursday, the Apex Court, in its lead judgment led by Justice Emmanuel Ajim, had ordered the federal government to immediately start the direct payment of local government funds to the latter exclusive account. Reacting through the statement, Kalu, who is the chairman, Senate Committee on Privatization, noted that the Supreme Court judgment on the autonomy of local governments is one that should be held and applauded, especially for the courage and independence shown by the judiciary. Kalu used the opportunity to appeal to the federal government to consider making a case for local government elections to be conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, instead of the State Independent Electoral Commission. With that, we've come to the end of our bulletin this afternoon. Before we go, a recap of the top stories. President Tinubu, Labour talks adjourned till next week. Senator Akume has said Labour can enforce minimum wage compliance. We also told you that reps have waded into Police Service Commission, Inspector General of Police, gridlock over police recruitment. Thanks for being part of Countrywide on Benue Television. I am Susan Ayo. Remain blessed.